Good morning, everybody. I'm the clerk to the parish council. So in many ways, I suppose I'm neutral because I can't vote. It's only the parish councillors who can vote. This isn't a parish council meeting. This is a village hall committee meeting. So I'm rather hogging the beginning of the meeting. Christina Glynn is. You speak, Christina. Then I'll say something else.
I record public meetings, not all public meetings, but many, and I post them on YouTube and share the links into community Facebook groups. So I've recorded the previous meetings, I'm recording this one. I do not record the public, I don't video anybody in the public, I only face forward. But of course everything that's said will be heard, assuming voices are loud enough. So I hope everybody's okay with that. Yeah? Right. Thank you.
Okay, and just to say, I'm the parish clerk, so it is the village hall committee meeting. Unfortunately, the chairman of the village hall can't be here, he's got a very unwell family member. However, we do have parish councillors here. We have Joe McDonald and we have Martin Hay. I think that's the only two parish councillors we have here. So, if I just read out what was said by the chairman at the annual parish meeting. So at the annual parish meeting, this is what the chairman said about the community hub proposal. Before the village hall committee presented, and I will say we didn't know whether this was going to be a sit-down meeting or a drop-in meeting, did we?
No, so it's sit down.
Yeah, it's sit-down because there's so many of you, so if each of us say everything to each person, it's going to take forever. So we say it once, and then if more people come in, because obviously we're here till 1 o'clock, but we're not going to talk till 1 o'clock.
No.
So,
hopefully we'll be gone by 11.
yeah. But we will be here until 1 o'clock, but you probably won't be. So before the village hall committee present, it's very important to, does anybody, sorry, I was meant to get the hearing bit out. I was a teacher for 25 years, so I'm quite good at a loud voice. Yeah, okay. Before the village hall committee present, it's very important to establish a few facts. The parish council own the gun park. So nothing can happen on it without the parish council agreeing to it. The parish council were originally approached by the football club requesting a new pavilion. The current one is in a shocking state. It's owned by the parish council and leased to the football club on a full repairing lease. The parish councillors had agreed in principle that the pavilion should be replaced with a new building. The parish council had taken legal advice on this, and the football club had started to look into sources of funding. After this, the village hall committee approached the football club and suggested they join forces and instead build a much larger community hub on the gun. The parish council have not agreed to this. It's just an idea at the moment, as the parish council are not prepared to make a decision until everyone in the village knows about the proposal and has had a chance to have their say at the meeting tonight. Well, that was on the 12th of March, that's when this was read out. And two other ones to be held in the village hall on Sunday the 31st of May, that one's happened, and Monday the 8th of June, 10 till 1. Leaflets did go through doors, but unfortunately they had Monday the 6th of June written on them. And I was, after speaking to somebody over the weekend, unfortunately I understand Wilmot Place didn't get any leaflets, so I delivered them this morning. Very short notice, I know, but everybody there did get a leaflet through their door from me by 9 o'clock this morning. After all three events have taken place, the parish council will then decide whether to pay approximately £2,000, it could be a bit more than that, for DDC to run a vote, or how to best record parishioners' views. A show of hands of people on the electoral roll in Eastleigh will take place at the end of each presentation for indicative purposes, and those not on the electoral roll are not entitled to vote. And that's because the parish council own the gun park, and it's a parishioner's precept that pay to maintain it. So that is why it is the views of the people who are paying to maintain it that are paramount. I do have a list, so we'll do I don't need names, we'll do a hands up at the end, but it might be that people don't want to stay or stay a bit longer or whatever, but it will be recorded. So at the next parish council meeting, the parish councillors will receive, because they're not all here, the information, just the summary from each of the meetings. It's very important the parish council hear people's views about the proposed community hub. It's not a done deal, as has been rumoured. This is not a central government consultation, this is an Eastleigh Parish Council consultation. The parish council want to know what you think. Are you prepared for the gun park to be built on? It's important to say that even if the parish council did support the idea, or do support the idea, it would still be subject to planning permission from DDC. Concerns raised by the parish council include loss of green space, possible negative effects on neighbouring residences, developers' credentials and ability to complete, funding shortfall, car parking at the new building, car parking at the old building, this one, security at the new building, and ownership of the new building. Okay, so I think I will just count how many people are here now, not including parish councils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5, 7, 20, 21, 30, 1, 2, 3. Have you counted them?
No.
No.
I'll trust you, Jeff.
Okay, I'm just going to do it again. So I'm going to do 1, 2, well, I must have counted parish councils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
But they might keep coming in.
10, 11, yeah, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 34. Apologies for pointing at it. Right, I will now be quiet. You take over.
Thank you very much. For those that don't know me, my name is Alan Wheatley. I am the current chairman of Eastleigh Village Hall Charitable Trust, and it's fallen upon me to try and deal with this situation. I'm going to try and preempt a lot of questions that appeared in the first two sessions. I know some of you were here for those sessions, but some of you weren't, so I think it's only fair we quickly run through how we've got to this point. Firstly, though, I would like to apologise for the non-showing of Kevin Gilligan, the Vice Chairman of the football club and also the architect. He has sent me a statement which I'm trying to find now. Here it is. The football club will not be present at today's meeting, as all of the questions about the proposed new building can be found on either the drawings on the wall or on the previous meeting's videos. Unfortunately, Kevin struggled after the second meeting. It was a very hard meeting. And the football club probably are in a fairly strong position insofar as, in principle, it has been agreed with the parish council to change the layout of the gun park and have a small pavilion, as they call it, changing rooms, to enable Eastleigh Ravens to continue playing here at Eastleigh. So, with Kevin not here, I won't be able to answer very many technical questions. I apologise for that. But most, if not all of those questions, as Kevin has said here, were raised in the previous meetings. It does mean you're going to have to hunt them down. I believe the football club will be putting a statement out on their website at some stage in the near future. Right, so one of the big bones of contention from the previous meetings was who actually owns the village hall, the building, the car parks, the garages. The simple answer is that UK Charity Commission owns everything. And I think it's time for a very quick history lesson. On on the 13th of November 1933, the previous owners of this site sold the building, surrounding site, which is now called number 2, the High Street, to a group of 28 residents. Well, strictly speaking, 26 residents of East Street and 2 from Sandwich, who between them had raised the princely sum of £650 plus £6 10 shillings stamp duty. This group was headed by the Vicar of East Street, the Reverend Vivian Yeardsley, whose name will crop up a bit later on. The group of 28, I'm not going to read them all out, but they're there. There are local provision merchants, nurserymen, carpenters, farmers, gardeners, nurses, milkmans, butchers, bakers, spinsters, wives, a whole range of people who donated and built up that £650 fund. Unfortunately, the Hall Archives and the Parish Council Archives are a very long way from completion, but a lot of unrecorded work must have gone on before November 33, because on completion of the sale, the solicitor working on behalf of the 28 benefactors was instructed to immediately transfer the complete building and site to the UK Charity Commission as one entity, requesting the Charity Commission to apply an order vesting the same property with the official trustee of charity lands. Upon such an order, the 28 ceased to own to the High Street. Meanwhile, Eastleigh Village Hall Charitable Trust had been created and registered in agreement with the Charity Commission to administer and manage this new trust on behalf of the Charity Commission. The 28 involved formed the initial Council of Management and had previously agreed the letter of guidance, or in modern parlance, the Constitution, with the Charity Commission. All of this is recorded in the books of the Charity Commission for England and Wales. It's volume 51, page 551, if you're really that interested. And the official date, seal date, is the 24th of January 1934. I will put all of this up on the website when I know how to. Apart from the official trustee of charitable lands being renamed, the original 28 people being replaced by other interested individuals, of which I am now one, and very minor changes to the wording, this is still the ruling document that the whole committee have to work to. And in this letter of guidance, what is now in modern parlance a mission statement, and I'll read this out, shall be held in trust to be used for the purpose of physical or mental recreation and the social, moral and intellectual development through the medium of reading and recreation rooms, library, lecture classes, recreation and entertainments, or otherwise as may be found expedient for the benefit of the inhabitants of the parish of East Street in the county of Kent and the immediate vicinity, without distinction of sex, political or other opinions. And we still work to that mission statement. Right from the start, i.e. December 1934, it was deemed that the Council of Management shall consist of up to 2 representatives from any or all hiring groups, plus 6 other members not affiliated with a hiring group. Although it's not stated in the letter of guidance, these 6 vacancies have allowed the council to fill the 6 executive positions listed with the strongest candidates available. Sounds like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but I'm not. Rather than being restricted to volunteers from the hiring group. It is a perfectly sensible position. In there is the letter of guidance. It's a photocopy. I don't know how old it is, but it is what's filed at the Charity Commission. If you want a copy of that, I will gladly supply you with one. In it, there are a series of paragraphs. Paragraph 13 of the letter of guidance allows the Hall trustees to apply for loans or a mortgage if deemed necessary or beneficial to the future of the hall. Paragraph 14 allows the trustees to sell the whole or part of the premises should circumstances dictate, with the agreement of the Charity Commission. I have recently been in touch with the Charity Commission and was advised that this paragraph 14 is now removed from the template for a modern letter of guidance. However, in the registered version, the 1933 version, it is still on file. So the Charity Commission has sent a letter of consent for our files. Right, there's a lot more which I don't want to really bore you with. Turns out that the £650 from the benefactors wasn't actually just an open donation. They were a series of loans. They were interest bearing, and it was deemed necessary because the school was about to be, local school, the building still stands over by the church, was about to be swamped with a huge number of new residents of a vastly expanded children home. It's just off Northbourne Road. The Reverend Yeardsley was obviously involved in this. And it turns out that he was probably a very good businessman, because it took another £750 to turn this place from an engineering works into effectively a village hall. That £750 was raised via an interest-free loan from KCC, who were probably forced to offer it interest-free because it was them that had organised the siting of the new children's home. I'm saying that Reverend Yeardsley was probably a very good businessman because the first paying hirers of the hall were indeed KCC, Kent Education Department, because immediately the hall was open, it was turned into 2 classrooms. You can still see the marks on the floor, and you can still see the carrier in the middle of the hall, which carried the room separator. So this room was 2 classrooms back in the day. Sorry?
We know that because we all, most of us, East Street people,
Well,
we all attended.
Well, yes, of a certain age, others didn't. The loans to the interest-bearing loans were repaid to the individuals within 2 years, and the £750 loan was cleared by the end of 1938. So in 4 years, this place had generated effectively £1,406.10, which, if you put it in the Bank of England's calculator, today's equivalent of £89,000 in 4 years. That's good going. Kent Education were the main source of income for the hall for the first 25 years that it was operating as a hall. It was only in the late 50s or early 60s, when the current primary school was being proposed, that a certain degree of concern appears in the hall archive. Indeed, one of my predecessors wrote to KCC begging for help and advice once the impact on the hall's income was becoming clear. His term for the hall back in those days was a potential white elephant. And from that point on, everything in the hall seems to be undertaken at a minimal cost, one of which example is the fact that we still have the hanging rail for the room divider. There have been improvements to the hall since the 1960s. The kitchen extension, which we've recently updated, new front entry with ramps to improve accessibility, gas-fired central heating, which now actually works and warms the room, better toilets, double glazed windows, and the car park's been resurfaced. If you look behind the scenes, most of these were funded through grants from one source or another, plus a local legacy of £36,000 back in 2008. In March 2020, the hall had a total of just over £18,000 in the various bank accounts. If you remember back to March 2020, that was COVID. 2 years later, the accounts show a balance of over £42,000, despite the hall being silent for the vast majority of those 24 months, as I'm sure we all remember. I've gone through the numbers, and assorted grants totalled over £40,000 just to this one hall. I've spoken to other halls, chairmen and other positions within local halls, and it would appear that all village halls benefited in this way. Is that fact, right, Joe? Because you're associated with a number of them.
I am. I don't know. I don't do their accounts, so I don't know.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there was lots of money available. Indeed, the last of the grants is in the books as being received in January, as late as January 2024. In the last 2 years, we have undertaken a round of improvements using the monies available, because as of the 31st of August 2024, the money or funds available to the hall totaled £58,010. So we started to improve the place, the toilets, the kitchen, the heating, just the simple fabric of the building. And we've spent over £30,000 on the most urgent repairs and improvements as decided by the committee. If anyone is interested, the hall AGM is going to be held on Tuesday the 23rd of June, commencing at 8 o'clock here in the hall, so you can actually go through the current numbers. Unfortunately, the world's changed since those heady days of 2024 and £58,000. A current member of the hall exec who works in the charitable sector is finding it increasingly difficult to keep his charity operating, and reported to me over the weekend that even very large organisations like St John's Ambulance, the Samaritans and the Dad's Charity are selling off assets just to keep the doors open. So I don't think we should count on too much by way of grant funding in the future, or consider the future. So, summing up, the hall is owned by the UK Charity Commission, not the village, run by the current committee of unpaid volunteers on behalf of and for the benefit of the village. And after decades of neglect and poor management, is presently in a position to possibly rectify the situation through the unsolicited offer from Woods Builders. Any questions?
I don't think it was neglect or anything. That was a bit naughty saying. We had a fundraising committee right up until COVID, and we worked our socks off.
I don't doubt that.
No, you don't know. You want
No,
to
I
know.
wasn't here.
No,
Yep.
exactly.
I just question how some of the money was spent, because it took us over £5,000 just to get the heating working.
Yeah, well, we used to have a fundraising committee, and we had things every month, bingo and all sorts, which we could do again.
Yes, we could, if there were volunteers. I'm going to come to that shortly.
Yeah.
We are reliant upon volunteers.
Well, we always do in a village, and that's the heart of the village.
Yes, but
The
it's
village
harder
people.
and harder to get people
Well, could you
even
take
to turn up to
questions?
be members of the
Could you
committee.
take questions now?
Yeah, why not? Yes, sir.
If you move the hub to the park,
Yeah.
what difference will it make to the finances? You still need income streams, which you obviously haven't got. So
We have got income streams, so I'll go over it
But
shortly.
if it's not sufficient for this hall, why will it be okay for the hall in the park?
Right,
Right.
there's a list here giving further improvements as of May 2026. It's over £100,000 worth of improvements to get this building anywhere close to modern standards. Yeah, we had to pay out a lot of money in the last 12 to 18 months just getting this room legal, yeah, with regard to fire alarms, fire escapes, changing those doors so they open the right way. And that's just, that was £10,000, just like that. Good. Yeah. The cost of repairs and maintenance is just huge in this place. There's very little insulation in this building. The only reason the windows are double glazed is the old metal ones were literally falling out, from what I can gather from the records. I wasn't here. Yeah. But that is really the only modern insulation in this building. There is minimal insulation in the ceiling, going back to the 1960s levels, i.e. that much, when it should be that much if you're a modern building. And indeed, there are parts of the ceiling above the snooker club where there is no insulation at all. There's just a gap between the ceiling boards and the tiles, which is why, when you drive past this place on a winter's day, all the pigeons are sitting on the roof. No other houses have pigeons on, I'll guarantee you, when the weather's cold.
That's because they used to live on the new development.
Sorry?
They used to live in the new development.
That I don't know.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. But,
And they've all been outed because there's a new development.
well, as I say, that you drive past here on a winter's
I do
day,
sometimes
that's where the
visit
pigeons.
them, and I used to walk past the new development when it
Okay.
was fine.
Yes, go on.
Can I ask a question about the proposed ownership of a new community hub if it were to happen?
Mm-hmm. We've discussed that.
Carry on, Christine.
Well, that's the first part of my question. I've got other questions as well, but just to start with that.
Yes. The legal advice that the parish council have taken is that if it is built on the parish council's land, it would be owned by the parish council, unless there is a deed to say otherwise. That would be quite a responsibility of the parish council.
Right, thank you.
So there would need to be, the legal advice from CALC would be, there would need to be a very clear lease. The parish councillors, the parish council clerk would not be writing that lease themselves. They would be taking legal advice for what should be in the lease and how it should be worded.
And then the lease, perhaps you'd have two tenants, one being the football club and one being Eastry Village Hall.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Because the parish council haven't even decided if the land could be built on.
No, very true. Actually, well, moving on to that.
Can I just say, my experience, I have of Woodensborough, because I'm also part of the Woodensborough Parish Council, and the village hall in Woodensborough is owned by the parish council on land that is owned by the parish council, but it is leased to a village hall committee for the sum of £10 a year, and it is the village hall committee's responsibility to do all management of that hall. It is the day-to-day management is nothing to do with Woodensborough Parish Council.
What about maintenance?
Well, if you'd like to let me finish,
Yeah.
the income from the parish from letting Woodensborough Village Hall more than pays for the maintenance of Woodensborough Village Hall. So, and the building is insured in the committee's name, not in the parish council's name, because they have a legal lease that is drawn up, and that is what normally happens with village halls that are owned by parish or town councils. They are normally, from my understanding, and I'm not an expert on this, this is from taking advice from Kent local council, area local council, Association of Local Councils, sorry. Their advice is, which is the model in Woodensborough, that is what happens. It is managed by a committee.
Well, I'd just like to say that's encouraging to me. Now, with regard to the tenant, is the thinking, and I mean, I know it's all very hypothetical, that the whole building would be leased to Eastry Village Hall and then sublet the changing rooms to the football club?
I don't think they've got as far as that. It would be a committee. I imagine it would be this model. This model is the committee is made up of all the people that hire the hall.
Right.
So they haven't got as far as, they haven't even agreed that it could be built on the land yet.
With respect, it's questions like that bogged us down over the Christmas period, going into far too much detail where we're really trying to establish just principle.
Well, could I just say, I think it's quite important because the dilapidated state of the pavilion, and I'm disappointed that the football club aren't here today,
Well, so am I,
but the dilapidated state of the pavilion suggests to me that they don't have the money to maintain it. So if they have larger premises within the new community hub, how are they going to pay for the utilities on their larger premises? How are they going to contribute to, wait, please, let me finish. Please let me finish. How are they going to contribute towards the maintenance of the whole building? And is it perhaps going to be the case that Eastry Village Hall, which at the moment has control over its own domain and its own finances, will actually then be pushed into a position of having to fund the changing rooms for the football club and the maintenance on the whole building, when in actual fact it's only part of the building that they can get earnings from?
Right. The current numbers for the hall, the hall itself generated in the region of £35,000.
Speak up, please.
Pardon?
Can you speak up?
Sorry. In the year April 25 through to March 26, the hall, the garages and everything, barring the snooker club, generated £35,000 worth of turnover. The snooker club generated £12,000 of turnover. So there's £47,000.
Is this turnover or surplus?
Turnover. Running costs, excluding the money we spent on maintenance and improvements, was between £21,000 and £22,000. Yeah, so you
Is
can
that
do
the
that.
hall or the snooker?
That's together. So I'm combining the utility costs. Yeah, because the snooker club being open as virtually all hours now does cost a little bit more to heat. So, but we know how much because it's on a secondary meter. We are monitoring that. So very simplistically, there's £47,000 worth of turnover and about £22,000 worth of costs. So between the two organisations, there's £25,000 as it stands.
You've mentioned, but you've mentioned that you have to do improvements. If you take out the improvement money, those improvements don't get done again.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. But those numbers were taking out the improvements.
Right.
Yeah. We actually spent something like £15,000 on improvements before we stopped the day that the unsolicited offer was agreed by the hall committee. Yeah. Which was sometime in September, if I remember correctly. So.
Yeah, I mean, I am very concerned.
Yes, sir.
Can other people speak apart from that lady on the...
Yes, of course.
Yeah, almost. Would you like to ask something?
Thank you. I believe that we've already had 2 meetings where there was a negative response to the proposal.
Yeah.
Right.
If that's the case, rather than shooting a dead dog, can we actually not come up, as chairman of the committee, come up with an alternative solution which would raise the money?
We have tried, sir, as indicated in my conversation with the lady there, about in the old days having fundraising volunteers. Yes, we still have fundraising, we still have bingo, we still have whist, we have other hall hirers who are generating quite a lot of money. I mean, this next 12 months, we're fully expecting to go well over the £50,000 in total income between the hall and the snooker club. Because of the improvements we've made, it's a nicer place to be. More people want to hire us, which is great. Our hiring diary there is a lot fuller than it was 2 years ago.
Well, I think we're all impressed with that improvement that you and your committee have done.
Yeah, it's a committee thing.
But it still begs the question why we're flogging a dead horse.
What with because the running costs of this place are so heavy, and because the place is run by volunteers, there's no saying whether the next group of volunteers that run this place will have the same attitude as the current group of committee members.
Well, who's going to run the one up there then, if we move?
Whoever
Are they
the
gonna
chairman
be
and
volunteers?
yeah, the same group of volunteers at the moment, or rather back in September, when the committee were informed of this offer from Woods Builders, I put it to the committee, and with one exception who abstained, everybody else voted to pursue the option. Nothing more, just to see if it had legs. Now it's taken us best part of 9 months to get to this stage, through various reasons which I'm not going to go into, to get a feedback from the village. With respect to your question, sir, about flogging a dead dog, we've had now probably 160, 170 people in these meetings, and I know there's been some people here from...
Over 200 now, because it was 90 at the parish annual parish meeting. I think it was
77, wasn't it?
Yeah, 70 at the last one,
Right.
so that's 160,
Okay.
and there's 39 here.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, but there have also been people that have been here on more than
Yeah,
one occasion.
that,
So,
that.
for the sake of the numbers that I'm just about to throw at you, you have to call it 170,
Okay, over 70.
180, wherever.
Yeah,
Something in that region.
yes.
Yeah? Okay. So 180 people have been to the hall for these consultations. As of the census of 2021, there were 2,350-ish people recorded as the population of the parish. 2 weeks ago, we had 160 odd children in the hall for an educational puppet show that the hall funded. Those were aged 5 to 11. So if we assume a similar demographic for all the people in Eastry from newborn to age 18, that works out at about 170 to 180 people. So the balance, no it doesn't, sorry. No, sorry, 160 times 3 is about 480, 500. Yep, apologies for my mental arithmetic. So there's about 500 people, young people in Eastry, below the age of 18, who are not eligible to vote with regard to what we're here for today. That leaves, in round figures, 1,750 people. Yep.
I don't think that matters.
It's all irrelevant.
Yeah.
No, it is relevant,
It is-
sir.
it is relevant.
With respect, it is relevant, because the 170 people, 180 people that have been here is 10% of the people eligible to vote for the village, for what we're going to do with this hall. Yeah? And most of you are anti, and I understand that. Yeah, nobody likes change. But all of you that have been here over the 3 consultations only represent 10% of the possible people, or the adult population of the village. Now, you may not like that, but it's fact.
But we've got a meeting this morning,
Yes.
when anybody who's working, you take the working population.
With respect, sir, we had 3 consultations in agreement with the parish council, spread over different days of the week and different times of the day. So if people were interested, they had the option to fit in with their own time.
The parish council did insist there was an evening one, a weekend one, and a daytime one for people who don't like to come out in the evening or weren't available on a Sunday afternoon. So Alan is correct. The parish council did request 3 meetings.
So the council were in error in doing that.
The parish council have not made a decision yet. The parish council at the July meeting will decide what the next stage in the process is. It's only the parish council's decision. They own the land. But the parish council said from the very beginning, 11 people are not making this decision on our own. We want to hear what the villagers think, and and the parish council want to do what the villagers want. That's why they're asking you. They could have, they didn't have to, it is their decision, but they want to know what people think. That is what they want to do. Is that sufficient or not? What would you like to say further or ask me further?
Well, I think the main thing is that we actually gather around the chairman of the parish, of the whole committee, and help him come up with some alternative ideas.
Well, that will be part of my spiel to close off with, sir. Thank you, but thank you for that.
Yeah, because the parish council are not, the parish council do not own this building. The parish council are not asking you what to do with this building. All the parish council want to know is, do you want a building to go on that piece of land?
No.
What happens to this building is not the parish council's decision. What happens on that field is.
Gentleman in the green shirt, who's been very patient.
Thank you. It's a hypothetical question. I understand the parish council have listed as one of their reasons financial concerns about the building. So, hypothetically, if the village hall is moved to the gun park and everything goes ahead, can't see it, but if that were to happen, what would the timeline be for the buildings? For example, would the property developer take this building as a priority?
No.
And develop that first?
No, this has been agreed right, or hypothetically. The initial conversation with the developer that I had was that the village could not be without a hall for any period of time. As such, they came back to me the following day and offered to build this hypothetical new structure at the north end of the gun park out of their own reserves and as part payment for this building.
Okay. Can I continue for a short while?
Yeah, well, wait.
What would the timeline be, hypothetically, if the go-ahead was given?
Well,
My concern would be, if we have the development in the gun park, the still development on Mill Lane at the old hospital starts again, and potentially the hypothetical site and Lower Street, how much traffic are you going to put through the village? And at choke points?
Absolutely no idea, to be honest. There are still a number of hurdles that this project has to get over, least of all the vote from the parish. Yeah?
True.
There's Dover DC, there's the traffic review that they've got to go through. There's the biodiversity net gain review that every development has to go through these days. There's all manner of potential points where this can fall over. It's really just establishing whether the village want a new building in which to house the village hall, the snooker club, the football club, and maybe some other third-party entities, or whether they're happy with this hall. If you want to stay in this hall, then yes, there is a lot that needs to be done, and there needs to be a lot of input from the village.
I just think you're making a logistical nightmare. You're making a traffic problem.
Potentially.
Well, no, not potentially. I mean, look at Wilmot Place, look at Gore Lane. It's all team.
Yes, and that will come down to the traffic survey, sir. That is Dover DC's decision.
And the DCC have already launched an inquiry about questions about what can we do to improve traffic. Am I right, Joe?
Oh, the highway improvement plan, yeah, we currently have the highway, but we do that every year. Yeah, we have the highway improvement plan, is open at the moment, asking for people's suggestions, so we can get our plan together. So we're only allowed to put 2 to 3 options, so we need to get feedback from the parish, so the parish councillors can then narrow it down to the 2 to the 3 that they think have most support, are most pressing, and then that goes to KCC, and they decide what we can and can't have. And they normally give us a nice big price for how much it will cost, and the parish council then have to decide if they have enough money to do what it is that they would like to do on behalf of the village.
Okay, a couple of points, including this gentleman here. last meeting, and I did put another alternative proposal through, saying I can see where people are coming from for the sports element side of things. My son used to play for East Raven, so I understand there's a need for the football side. When you look at the new development, it was discussed that there was issues for badminton pool and such like, but that wouldn't mean with the new build you'd lose a skate park that would have to be manoeuvred. So I'm understanding there's the requirement for a sports facility. If you went wholly on one building, smaller, lower, possibly sited slightly differently, there is an acceptance that that might be an alternative, keeping the village hall here and supporting this village hall. However, coming back to you, Alan, when you're saying about people voting, it's something I also mentioned at the last meeting. At no point has the village been informed that there's been financial hit after hit to this village. If we had been informed, maybe more volunteers would have come forward, more people would have helped to assess that and keep the village hall where it is. My other point is, if you go ahead with this particular proposal, you've said, for instance, that you've had one valuation for 850, and then the football club have got their money. There's still a huge gap of money that cannot be spoken about, cannot be assessed as to where's that coming from. You've already said you struggle getting grants for this building. Where's the grant coming to give that interim money to build that proposal? So how do those people, going on what you're saying, so how do those people who haven't managed to come to these meetings, not everybody can,
No, I understand.
how will they have the knowledge that we've had here of all the different issues feeding in? How can they make a judgment call for a proper vote if they do not know any of these factors?
Firstly, it's being recorded, so that is available on your website.
I think it's on your website. I don't think it's on YouTube.
No, I mean, I'm aware of people who haven't seen the videos because they don't follow me personally, or they're not members of the Facebook group Eastleigh Community Watch, and those are the only places it's posted. And I know people who haven't seen them,
I'm
yes.
firing from the cuff now, but I would happily put something on the notice board out there, and I will happily put a feature into Eastleigh Village News in the next edition.
Good, that's great. That's a start.
You'd be very welcome to put a link into my videos if you'd like to.
You're talking a foreign language to me.
But whoever does your website would be able to put a link.
Yeah.
Could be. That would be a good idea.
Because I do it for public information.
That there is an alternative possibility that people can think about, but those on the outside don't know that.
No. The pretty pictures on the wall, they are only, keyword, only a representation. If everything that has been spoken to myself and committee members over the past 18 months were to come to fruition, the badminton court, to be honest, is a luxury. That's it, right? If we need to cut our cloth, then that will go. If we can't get the grant money, then that will go. But there are parties who would appreciate indoor facilities for kids to run around in. I'll leave it at that.
Wouldn't that also filter into something you said on the previous meeting about when you held a concert here, you were worried about the sewage facilities, etc. So wouldn't using that hall of whatever size it would be negate that to allow you to continue using this for what I do think is a really important part? There's a lot of elderly in this village, because that's what villages are. There's a lot of disability going on. Are you actually asking them to make their way from the park to the post office to get their pension, to get everything else?
No, because the front car park is staying open to the
village.
No, it
that's
isn't.
pie in the sky. That's you trying to just placate people. There is not enough car parking there.
It isn't. With respect, it isn't. I have sat down and reviewed one whole week of parking on that front car park via the information from our CCTV cameras. Yeah. Weekdays, between the hours of 8 and 5, there were between 170 and 190 cars using the front car park and not entering the hall.
But they still need that access. They
Yeah,
can't park on the
but it is
roads.
very rare that all the front spaces on the front car park were used. Very rare. And it was only generally if there was something going on in the hall here that clashed. Yeah? Now, if we had a new hall somewhere else, those other car parking spaces wouldn't be used. They would be available solely for people to go to the post office, the butcher, etc. etc.
One might say, with due respect, you've done that count now. If you've got people living here, this is going to be converted into whatever. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's going to be converted, right? And you've got them there, you've got them out there. I guarantee you there'll be no room out there for local people to park. Regardless of what you say, there'll be no room. Because would you, if you lived here, would you want not to be able to park outside your own flat house or whatever?
You will. Because private car
Because you
park
have
back here.
locals still wanting to park their
As
cars.
I understand it,
Yeah.
I'm not the developer, I have nothing to do with the developer, and I'm constantly staying away from the developer. But as I understand it, that space between wherever this side of the building ends up and the bungalows at the back will be private parking for the residents of this new.
But then if they have family members visiting, there's no space, they'll park up front. There'll be nothing left for the locals.
Yes.
How many people do you have visiting at times?
Oh, it doesn't matter, that's, the locals need that access.
Seem to forget it's a village.
There won't be a parking place out there when this place is being altered.
Well,
For a whole year.
yeah, we had this conversation last time out, so we will agree to differ on that one. Yes, sir, at the back.
I come to a previous meeting, and when the gentleman from the football team was here, and I understand your concerns about the fabric of the building, and how they explained how there had been even the younger sides. But we were sitting here talking about the village hall, and as soon as we got up to the gun park, it morphed into 2 new football pitches and a changing room. And it seems it's a win-win for the football team. I mean, I know you said about there being an independent coffee shop up there and the like.
That was all part of a proposal. That none of that has been set in stone.
And the other thing that was received well by the committee on the first meeting was that you would go up, it's a possibility of going up to the gun park and marking out the area that would take. So that people look and say, my God, that's big, or oh, that's not too bad, we can do that.
Which I believe happened.
There is a white line.
And then again, going back to notification, I didn't know, I would have gone up and had a look.
It's still there. The white line is still there. It's spray painted. And I will say, just to be sure about this, because there has been a bit of controversy about this, the parish council have not agreed to 2 football pitches. The only thing the parish council have formally agreed to is a new pavilion in principle. The parish council are aware that the football club would like 2 pitches, but it has not gone on an agenda and it has not been discussed in a meeting. And the parish council have very, very strict rules about the way they operate, and my job is to try and keep them legally within the law and the way they must
It was spoken about at the first meeting.
It was. And I wish, because I was sat here when Kevin said it, I had interrupted him. So I didn't interrupt somebody who told me that the skate park wasn't safe. And I did inform that the parish council paid for 3 play area inspections a year, as we are legally bound to, and we do abide by the reports that we are given. So, I do say, my job is unpaid to make sure that the parish council act as they should do, and I do my best to do that. I am obviously human and I do make mistakes, but I do try hard to make sure that they do things properly, and they have not agreed, and anybody can read my minutes and my agendas, they're all published, as again they legally have to be. At no point does it say the parish council, and until it's on an agenda, they can't formally talk about it. Until it's minuted, it is not a legal decision. It has to say resolved, and then what the decision is. Which I know the Village Hall Committee have found frustrating, because we are a body that moves very slowly. We are.
With certainty.
Because we want to be, they want to, I don't make decisions, they do. They want to be sure that they understand properly what they're being asked, and they want to be sure that they understand what people think before, because they're very aware it's not their money that they're spending on cutting hedges, mowing grass, things like that.
Lady in the light blue at the back.
Thank you. He's on.
Oh right, sorry, sir.
It's true that the car park out the back here is built over a septic tank.
Yes,
If the developer is going to build 2 bungalows out,
he knows about it.
if he can't get permission to build 2 bungalows there, presumably the whole thing falls apart because you won't make any profit.
Whether he makes a profit or not is entirely down to him. I am not a property developer. I spoke to them a week ago, and I'm meeting with one of the directors of that company hopefully later this week, although that is not determined, to just discuss the outcome of these meetings. He knows about the cesspit, and he's actually quoted, and it's on my list of things to do, he's one of the people that are quoted for basically the Hall's Plan B, which is if the village vote not to proceed with the new building, and we're left with this 150-year-old building to try and make turn into an acceptable standard, then this is just one of the numbers on here, and the quote to connect to the main sewer as of, this quote is 3 months old, £22,380. That will have to come out of his pocket if he takes that on.
I've got a couple of points I'd like to get some clarification on. First one to Joe. The agreement in principle to build a new pavilion, the football club's Plan A, who was going to pay for that pavilion?
Football club.
Right,
The
okay,
legal
just so long
advice
it
the
wasn't
parish-
the parish council.
The legal advice the parish council were given was that the football club as a sports body are far more able to access funds than
Yes,
the parish
of
council are
course.
far more able. So the 100,000 up to 100,000 that the football club they'd originally told the parish council about was for them to put towards their new pavilion. So that is 100,000 that they were going to put into the community hub. They haven't got it yet. That is just the maximum they have been told they may be entitled to.
And that's good. And I'm aware that they've previously done some fundraising that they haven't used yet on the
Yes.
existing pavilion, so they've probably
As
got
far
some.
as I know, they've still got that. I
They've
don't
got
think-
some money in the
It's
bank.
not a lot.
Yeah,
Well,
I think it's thousands rather than tens of thousands.
And the other point I'd just like to clarify is in terms of process, what we're doing here. Now, these meetings are interesting because we're learning from them and lots of questions are being asked. But in terms of the actual process, now the Village Hall Committee and the Parish Council are getting some feel from the public as to how people think. But I also take your point, Alan, that it's only 10% of the population, perhaps. Now, from a parish council perspective, you're getting a sense, you're looking at how people have voted, and then you're going to have your own meeting at which you decide whether or not you want to go to DDC and ask them to do a poll, which will be of the voters within the parish, won't it? So it'll be the electors within the parish. Now, looking at the Eastleigh Village Hall Constitution, there's a separate process there. So the parish council process is purely about the gun park because that's what you own. But in terms of being able to sell the village hall, according to the Constitution, a meeting has to be held to get permission to do that, from what I've read. And it says here, it shall call a meeting of the inhabitants, not just the electors, of the age of 18 years or upwards of the parish of Eastry.
Yeah.
And it's at that meeting.
You're never going to get 1,700 people in this hall.
No, of course, but it's not about that. If
No,
I could
understand.
just.
So the parish council and the village hall committee have agreed that in order for everybody with a view and with concerns can be involved, firstly in these consultations, and then there will be a more formalised vote rather than just a final show of hands in here. Yeah, because you can only get 250 at a pinch in here.
But it's, from my perspective, it's about the people who are stated within the Constitution having the opportunity to be part of the vote. And if I could just read the paragraph in whole. So the Village Hall Committee will call a meeting of the inhabitants of the age of 18 years or upwards of the parish of Eastry, aforesaid, of which meeting not less than 14 days' notice, stating that a resolution will be proposed thereat. Now, we haven't had that wording appear yet. Shall be posted in a circulation in the said parish, and if such decision shall be confirmed by a majority of such inhabitants present at such meeting and voting, the council may, the council being the Village Hall Committee, may, with the consent of the charity commissioners, let or sell the trust premises. Yeah. So I'm not sure.
Can we hear from somebody else?
Yeah, I'm not sure we're hitting the same
target.
target.
That we're not having a Jackie Week for the moment, but I am going to, because I am clerk, I'm neutral. So thank you. I just want to respond to that. That is a question for the Village Hall Committee. Yes. But what I will say is, from the parish council point of view, the parish council need to know whether people want to build on the gun park. It is the Village Halls Committee's responsibility to act within their constitution. Is that your understanding as well? Yeah,
but in this instance, right, with agreement from the parish council, in order for all the parishioners of Eastry to have a vote, rather than trying to squeeze into here, we thought it fairer that some kind of postal slip of paper that can be passed out to the house. I know this hasn't been agreed by the parish council.
So this hasn't been agreed by the parish council yet?
Right. No. But it's effectively a voting slip, and we will man the hall for one day for 12 hours, and those voting slips can either be posted through the letterbox, handed in, whatever, and then at the end, an independent council will count them out, and whatever decision. That's got to be much fairer to everybody in the village than just a simple show of hands in here.
There are two decisions. There's a decision: do you sell the village hall? And there's a decision: do you build on the land? That's two separate things, because you could sell the village hall and you could buy a piece of land and build it somewhere else.
Well, you could because of the cost of land.
Well, but what I mean is they are two separate things. They are two. In the parish council's view, my legal advice to them will be there are two separate decisions there.
That's the point I was trying to cover. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Yes, sir, Moustache. Yeah.
This is an iconic building for the parish. It is lovely.
Exactly.
And I agree with you. This building is not quite fit for purpose. It costs what, £100,000 to bring it up to a standard?
Something in that region, yes.
Yeah. You've got 50 odd thousand in your bank.
No, we did have.
Yeah, fine. And
it currently stands at 33.
And the building generates 50,000 plus.
It will do.
So, what's the difference between spending the money on the building?
Because whatever we do here will be short term, right? I haven't included, with respect. Thank you. The list of improvements does not include long-term things like properly insulating this building. Those are solid walls heat just disappears out through it. Far more goes through the roof at the moment, but it will still disappear through. A modern building will have properly insulated walls. Yeah, those kind of costs have not been included in this £100,000 because it's simply, you know, ridiculous.
But the charity's getting £50,000 a year coming in.
No, the charity at the moment is getting £35,000 on this last year financial year.
But I thought you said it generates £50,000.
No, it will generate, or has generated in the last financial year, £47,000 if you include what the snooker club is now bringing in.
Yeah.
Now the snooker club is a separate entity, and it will be up to the snooker club committee, of which I am chairman of as well, yeah, as to what the profits from the snooker, how the profits from the snooker club are spread about. Now at the moment, the 50 members of the snooker club are really good at buying toys for that area, yeah, because they can, yeah. If they thought that the hall was going to close, I know that they would donate every last penny to try and keep this place open.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I'm including it. But it's not a done deal, and I'm hoping it never has to be, because I'd like the gentleman upstairs to continue buying toys.
But does the snooker club then pay the village hall rent?
Yes. The village...
How much?
Right, last year the snooker club paid in £4,183, if my memory serves me correctly. It used to pay £1,800 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, you use it a lot more now.
Yes, so, you know, it's been a
We
spectacular...
watched the gentleman going up.
Yeah, yeah. It's a well-used facility which stood idle for far too long. So, but it is a separate entity at this point. Yeah, but there is
belongs to the village hall.
no. The space belongs to the village hall.
Well, the space does.
Yeah, you know, the club could in theory relocate to another premise, and the hall would be coming up short of £4,000 less whatever the running costs are. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah.
Regarding the signs for the parking signs,
Yeah.
has anyone been fined?
Pardon?
Has anybody been fined? Do you know?
No, those signs are coming down. It's just ridiculous, those signs.
Who put them up?
One of my predecessors. I don't know. But I will take them down.
That's quite an iconic thing to say, because the parish council have been asked that question this week, so
Well, there you go.
you can't see my inbox, so that is quite amazing you said
You're
that.
very welcome. Yes, ma'am.
As I wasn't here from the beginning, I might have missed something. Being relatively new here, my view is that obviously a village hall must be in the centre of the village. I have yet to find the gun park. I'm told you go up this alleyway.
It's about 200 yards in that direction.
Yeah, but you don't want to go out at night. Walking up an alleyway, thank you, and somebody else said, I think it was yourself, said you go down Condu's track, down the hill and turn right and go through an estate.
No, it wasn't me,
Well,
but yes.
You know,
I take the point, but there are other people in the village where it will be more accessible.
Yes, I
So,
know,
but it is
yes.
still within the confines of the village.
Yes,
I mean, one of the suggestions. Sorry to cut across you. One of the suggestions out of one of the earlier meetings, and I discussed it with Joe, was that land be made available on one of the new developments. That's fine, but all the new developments are on the outskirts of the village.
But I mean, there is no actual sign actually to the gun park. So how's one going to find it?
Take that up with the parish council.
Well, I know, but who knows who said? But also, there's also talking about an early learning centre or something. Is that part of it? Some other little building?
There's a building over there that is part nursery, Yeah, it's a building which is basically a youth, young people's club and a nursery, early learning centre.
That's opposite the school, but if you don't know where the gun park is, you probably don't know where the school is.
It's at the end of that alleyway.
Everything you're talking about will be online. I'm not online. So, you know, and I know some other people here are not online.
I'm not.
You know, so then we're lost again, you know. But I still think it should be in the centre of it, because if you want to get people dropping in to say there's a craft fair on or a summer fair, they're not going to know where it is around there. They can take East Street.
Well, no, with respect, Madam, most of the locals know where they're going.
Yeah, but I'm a local, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you haven't lived here very long.
You're saying one thing, but I'm a local, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's fair enough, you know.
One of the difficulties are the impetus to considering this in the first place. And that could be addressed as an alternative by selling the garages.
Yes.
The list of improvements is drawn up, but I'm not aware that there's any proper quotes for each of those.
I have quotes for 2/3 of them and best guesstimates from builders for the others.
Okay. So we need to know exactly what needs to be done, how much it's going to cost, and if we sell the garages, does that meet that cost? I agree that the village hall is a focal point.
It depends how much people value the garages. If the garages are worth 10,000...
It's an alternative consideration though. It's an alternative to...
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we're looking at that as a possibility, along with possibly leasing them on 5-year leases, because as soon as we sell the garages, it decreases the value to a property developer and makes it very difficult to sell. And you will lose a village hall then.
And also you get money for the garages, the village hall does, don't they?
Yes, at the moment 4,200.
5,000.
4,200 if they're all taken. At the moment, those rates are being reviewed at the next meeting. But it depends on the value of the garages. I haven't had the garages valued yet. I actually bought a garage for my son in Deal and paid £20,000 for it. Now, I don't think they're worth £20,000.
10 to 20. But that's just an alternative to consider. And I just think we need to know that breakdown of costs because, yeah, it seems very high. It went from 140 down to 100.
Yeah, because I knocked off the £40,000 that we've done over the last 18 months.
Well, insulation was on there, and when we discussed it, due to the improved gas system, most people that rent this turn the heating right down. So the insulation isn't such a great issue right now.
No.
And there was 40,000 on that list for that.
There was the old system of heating this place was antiquated and it left.
Not now.
No, it's not now.
And that's improved hugely, and most of the time renters don't want the heating on, or they want it on for an hour before they come in.
Absolutely.
So that has reduced that
which we've resolved that situation and taken away that dreadful blue button which people just kept pushing, you know, and press it 4 times, you've got 2 hours heat. Absolutely going down the blind.
It's improved, and that cost can come down by 40,000 because it's warm enough in here without a major cost of 40,000 in insulation.
It is now, but it isn't through the months of potentially November through to March or April.
We were in here during those months, and it was very warm.
I've been in
We
here.
short mat, and I came to all the meetings,
Yeah.
and it was perfectly warm.
Yeah.
So
My predecessor held a committee meeting in here just before Christmas one year, still will back me up on this. We sat in here because the cost of the gas was so expensive, he refused to put the heating on. We sat in here, layered up, and all we could think about was going home.
But
It was
that's
the worst
not the
meeting
case
I've
now,
ever
though.
been to.
We need to deal with the case now. That's not the case now. It's
Sorry.
all improved, and
So-
that cost can come down.
Do you want me to shut the doors now? Is anybody chilling out?
No.
Okay, sorry, I just only thought about that. You're cold after the doors.
Can I just say that's all right if you're a group that's moving around, but it's not if it's a static group like a WI meeting or something like that, or the coffee mornings.
The coffee the parish council coffee mornings are grateful for the improvements to the heating because it is much warmer for us now on every other Friday when we have the coffee morning. We have noticed how much
and it's warm when you turn
it is. The parish the volunteers have noticed, and so have the people that attend, that it is much better than it was.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel really that this should stand. It's stood here for over 100 years. If it can survive all that, it should be allowed to stay. And the football pavilion, if the parish council help them to do that, then I'm all for that. But I don't want this pulled down, and I don't think Please don't smile about that.
No, I'm not smiling. I'm more grimacing. The place is not being pulled down. There is a preservation order on the whole of the high street. The fascia of this building has to stay.
No, it won't stay on its own, will it? It'll fall down.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be converted. I think the building is going to be like a barn conversion. I think it's going to be converted into buildings.
Yeah, but even so, I'm sorry, but I don't.
Yeah, it's fine. No, you're allowed that. And that's what the parish council, that's why the parish councillors are here, because they want to hear what people are saying, and they will feed back in the meeting. Then he is.
Sorry, and also I would like to say that the gun park is for the people of the village, so therefore I don't feel that it should be built halfway up the gun park. Or
It's not.
Mostly
There is
it
10.2%.
it goes up to the swing.
It does. I know you said it's 10%, but when you see where the white line is,
Yeah, I've looked.
Yeah, the line is between
where the swings are.
Yeah, it is about where the swings are. If you walked up the side, because you might miss it, it's before you get to the pavilion, but the fence going round the children's play area has turned the corner and started to go up. It is not as far up as the gate going in, I don't think.
It's halfway through the goal that the other children
at
the moment play in that goal.
So I know you've done the measurements, but when you're walking up the path, you need to look left, so you're going towards the allotments. You need to walk up the side of the path and look left, and then. But we have had a bit of rain since then. But I think the last time I walked past, I still walk past it all the time. I don't notice it necessarily.
Can I just say, going to what this lady was saying here about safety walking into the gun park, because of what I do for a job, I know about safety about people walking and up to the gun park. That's not particularly safe. If you're a mobility issue person, if it's dark, you don't feel safe walking up the alleyway, that's not nice. If you've got this here, you've got the high street, it's visible, people are going up and down this road all the time. If somebody has an issue, it's witnessed. Going up an alleyway, you're found. And I know this because I have found people up there on the floor. And because of what I do for a job, I then have to go and pick them up. So that needs to be taken into consideration. I don't think that's safe access.
That's true.
I mean, we don't. Also, it is not known at this point what the emergency services would think about the access.
I can tell you
that is not known. Yeah.
That's not the issue. Yes.
When is the parish council meeting? When might be the vote?
Well,
that is not known at all, because the parish council, the meeting is to decide on the next process. So I can't say that because I don't know, they don't know. They're not allowed to make decisions beforehand because that's called predetermination and that's unlawful. So they can't decide until they are sat in the meeting, and they can't make decisions unless it's been on the agenda with 3 clear days notice on the notice board and on the website. So it's very strict. So nobody knows that, but I do know when the meeting is. It's the first Monday in the month. So
can anybody come to the meeting?
Anybody can always come to a parish council meeting. Anybody can stay. Anybody's allowed to speak at the beginning bit. That is the bit. Please do come in and take a seat. Anybody can speak at the beginning, there's normally a maximum of 3 minutes allowed per person, and the chairman does normally ask for people to make different points, because otherwise they never actually get started on the business on the agenda. So they normally, he normally says, please don't say something that somebody else has already said, and please don't ask a question that's already been asked, because they do have to get on to their items. But yeah, you can speak for a maximum of 3 minutes, but then you are not, in theory, allowed to interrupt the meeting once it's started, but you can stay there from the beginning to the end. In fact, they'd be delighted if more people came. So the meeting is Monday the 6th of July. The ordinary meeting starts at 7:30. If there is planning, and I already believe I have one planning application, the planning meeting will either start at 7 or 7:15, depending on how many applications there are, and anybody is welcome to come to that as well. You're always welcome.
Where are these meetings?
They are held in the Eastleigh Parish Room, which is down Church Street. It's that tin hut that looks like it's about to fall over. It's got the bowling green behind it.
She said that, not me.
It's true.
I anticipate quite a few people will come.
Yes.
Will it be held here possibly?
Possibly, I have to state where I have to make my decision. So if people let me know they're likely to come, but they won't be making the decision. They will be making a decision about the process, not about the final decision. I don't believe, because they've got to decide what the process is.
So what happens next?
Yes, I think that's what they're going to. But the parish councillors can email me with what they want to go on the agenda, and I decide. So it will be between them and me what does go on the agenda, but they need to let me know 3 clear days before the meeting. That doesn't include a Sunday, but can include a Saturday, and doesn't include a bank holiday. Yeah.
At the moment, the hall is not particularly well supported on Monday evening, so if Joe picks up the phone and says, can we have the hall, we will make the hall available.
And they might very well do.
At the moment, but if that changes and we have a regular hall hire or even a one-off hire, then I'm sorry, it's first come, first served. So we can't guarantee, that if there's a very large need for a larger room, yes, we'll always make this place available if we can.
Or I don't know if the parish hall is any bigger than the church hall might be slightly bigger.
We are trying to work here.
Yes.
We'll grab this lady over here.
Yes.
Have you thought about the people that live in Cooksley, where this monstrosity of a building stands today?
Wherever a new building goes, somebody's going to be upset.
It will be, because that is where it devalue our property. We look out of our bedroom window now, and we see right across to the swings and skateboard, children walking across the parking lot this morning. What are we going to see? That horrible thing, looking out of our window?
I mean, that's a subjective term. You could turn that round and say you've got all these wonderful new facilities within there.
But that's horrible, what is up in the park now, especially the youth.
That is your point of view.
And I'm sure it's a lot of other people's points.
Yeah, and that's why we're having a consultation, and why hopefully, it will get to a voting stage.
Don't mind the football club having a new building, and that's by all means, but not something like that.
And then that is what
this is, that is had the football club building there, and it's been fine. But to sit out in your garden, perhaps when this is built in the evening, and have the noise from music and everything, is not fine.
That's one of the parish council's concerns, that they have got on their leaflet possible negative effects on neighbouring residences. They are concerned.
That's why the parish council need to know.
Yeah.
They need to know what you want, because we only act on what the people in the village want.
The parish council are good people, and they want to hear.
Excellent. I'm fabulous. He's not so good. I'm great.
Yeah, no, I second that. You are fabulous.
They look back and it's stripey top.
Yes, following on from the lady over there, I have commented before on social media that I live opposite here, and I chose, when I moved here nearly 40 years ago, I chose to live near Village Hall. We're in the heart of the village, and that was our choice. And over the years, we have seen fights, we've had loud music, we've had busy election days, the traffic coming in and out, but that was our choice. These people surrounding that area, which is on our green space, They didn't have the choice. It's going to be foisted upon them, so I do sympathise with that.
Well, only if the vote goes forward. Only if the vote goes forward. Yeah, yes.
You said that you would like our feedback. Shall we email you?
Well, there's a sheet of, I was going to sort of wait till we felt all the questions had been done, but if you need to go, there is a piece of paper here that says, and there's been a similar thing at the end of each meeting, it says, if you're on the electoral roll for East Street Parish Council request you leave a tally mark to reflect your view, please. You don't have to. Do you think a new community hub, as shown on the diagrams, should be built on the gun park? And there's a yes box and a no box.
Can we take a vote? Can I make a suggestion before we do that?
Yeah.
I personally think there should be another box of another idea. Not just this. Lots of people understand where we're going. We know there's lots of money. We know that the football community need a new building. I know we're voting on that proposal, but I do think there should be a box for another proposal, so that you get the idea that yes, we're okay, we're behind you, but not on this instance. We're not negative, we just don't think this is right at this time.
Well, I think all the parish council will do is say, do you want a community hub? Because the parish council have already decided in principle, the parish council own the pavilion, so that is purely the parish council's decision what they do with the pavilion, because it is their building. So they will decide, well they already have decided in principle that it can be replaced, because they have a responsibility to maintain their assets, and they feel that's an asset that they should be maintained. But it is their decision. Like, they used to manage the pond area, but they made the decision to give that back, because that is their decision to make. They didn't ask the village, do you want us to give it back? They gave it back because they could, and they did. So I get what you're saying, but what is the other? Because all we want to know, all the parish council want to know is, so they're not saying, do you want to support the village hall or not? They're presuming if you want to support the village hall, you'll let the village hall committee know. But what question do you want them to ask?
Well, I just think you're saying that there's other people on the electoral roll who have yet to vote, and if it goes to this procedure where you're, as Alan said, I don't know if it's the right way or wrong way, of giving everybody slip of paper to vote, there's people out there who don't know what's been going on, don't know the understanding that there's money required to keep the upkeep of this, don't know there is possibility that a different building could be built. You're asking them to vote on something that there's no information out there for them to look at and view.
We're basically asking them.
This just now, we're going round in circles.
All the parish council want to know is, are you happy for the gun park to be built? Any other question comes afterwards. Right. That's all it is. Would you be happy for a new community hub to go on the gun park land?
No.
Whether it looks like that, whether it looks like something else, all the ins and outs, anything else, all comes afterwards. Whether DDC say yes or no, whether there's an issue with the roads, whatever, that all comes afterwards. If the village says, no, we don't want the green space built on, then the parish council will go, okay, you're not locating this on the gun park. That's it.
And then I can get on with plan B as far as this is concerned.
What is plan B? What's plan B?
Spending the best part of £100,000 bringing this place.
You can't afford.
Not at the moment, no. And there's no guarantee that we will, because at the AGM I will be handing my notice in as the whole chairman. That was determined 2 years ago when I took the job on. Yeah. I'm hoping we will find as good, if not better, chairman for the committee. And it will be down to them to run the thing through. Yeah.
Can I just
I was landing in the position, right, one day in August last year, of having this unsolicited proposal to buy the building. Now, I could have turned around to the builder and say, please go away. Yeah, forget it. But that would have been the wrong decision. I put it to the whole committee, and as I previously stated, with one exception, it was unanimous to at least follow the process through, and here we are now.
Can I just say, before you ask your questions, I will just say that Alan and I have spoken about section 106, and I think maybe
I remember it well, Jo.
I ought to just mention that again now, because that I think is relevant. And I know building houses in villages is hugely unpopular, but if more than 10 houses are built at a time on a housing development, now Dover District Council say that there needs to be section 106 money, which is money that goes to the village to spend on improving things. So Ash have had an awful lot of building. So they have spent, they are currently in the process of spending £105,000 on a new play area. The vast majority of that is, so a big chunk of that is section 106 money that the developer pays for the privilege of being able to build the houses. Section 106 money is supposed to provide facilities for the extra people who are moving to the village. That is how it's working. Whitfield have so much money they do not know what to do with it because they have got all those new houses. So whether you like it or not, Woodensborough Village Hall was built on the back of section 106 money. The houses in Elmwood Park, because those houses were built, that village hall was built. The developer paid for the building. So whether you like housing or not, that is the economic reality of the country that we live in. Shamara Houses paid for the player equipment at the gun park. So that is what legally happens in this country at the moment and has been for a while. And it's only if you have 10 or more houses. So there is no section 106 from the houses at the farmyard because it wasn't a proposal of 10 to start with. I don't know what went wrong with the section 106 at the old hospital site because that is way before my time. I've only been doing this job 5 years. But supposedly there was meant to be money. The chapel was meant to come to the village as some sort of community building. Well, the trouble is that building site has been a nightmare for years, as we all know. Anyone that walks past that chapel and looks at all that ivy would think, oh my word, how much would it cost? The heating there is going to be more than it would be here. How much would that cost to turn that into a community building? Goodness knows. And all the different conditions that were put on, as if that site has been bought and sold, seem to have been eroded away. The houses on Gore Lane that did have planning permission, that has now lapsed. So that would have to start again. So, and the section 106 for that seemed to go to Sandwich. Because there's schools, if a school wants money, they apply to KCC. KCC Education Department decides where the section 106 money goes. Eastry School, despite what people tell me all the time, is way undersubscribed. They're going down to half-size year groups now. They do not have enough children there. They are desperate for more children there.
Get busy, folks.
So the money for primary schools would not go to Eastry because Eastry doesn't need any more money in the eyes of the education department because there aren't any more children who want to go there. So the money will go to Sandwich because they're probably oversubscribed. This section 106 money goes for doctors' surgeries, it goes for libraries. KCC decide the amount. There's a ready reckoner that if you go onto a planning site, if you look at a big application, you will see the ready reckoner. It lists, once it's all done and dusted, it lists where the money's going. Now, the parish, and I'm going to go to a meeting with Alan, depending on what happens, if he's on plan B, I'm going to go and explain to the Village Hall Committee my limited knowledge of how it works. But you have to tell DDC Planning Department what you think your village needs. And then if you are fortunate, when the planning application is granted, conditions are put on that says money will be available for improving the village hall. Money will be available for sports. But DDC decide, you ask, they decide what you need. They're very fond of play equipment. But other things, Ash have got money to improve the changing facilities at their pavilion, because their changing facilities aren't very good. So they've got lots of money for play equipment, they've got money for repairing play. I think they had £25,000 for repairing play equipment. They've got a zip wire, you get through that pretty quickly if you've got a zip wire, because they're incredibly expensive because they break them. So there could be money available, and Alan, understandably, has said to me, but you need to do it before the houses come. But that isn't the way it works in this country. The houses are built. When the developer sells the houses, they don't give the money. I don't know if anybody knows of Norman's Way site in Woodensborough, on the corner there. That was my family business. They paid money for the play. They paid for the play equipment at Woodensborough Village Hall. That was their Section 106 contribution. That's how it works. So, it's not to say that there couldn't be money available in the future for the village, but you have to have the houses to get the money. And that's the bit that people don't love. It's almost like a softener, a bribe, or whatever you want to call it, but that's how it works. But does anyone have any questions about Section 106? Say, I have limited knowledge.
Yes, does the hall ever approach you?
No, but they need to approach DDC as well, because it's the planning office. But Eastleigh Parish Council, have approached DDC and said, you know, the pavilion shopping, the parish council needs money to improve the pavilion. The parish council needs money. We like better play equipment, because the parish council are often asked, why can't we have play equipment like Ash? Because you haven't had hundreds of houses like Ash. It's easy. And the pond site, which is incredibly controversial, I know, but within the planning documents, there is talk of money being available there for improving facilities in the village. And because of the number of houses, there would have to be a Section 106 agreement. But nobody knows what is happening with that yet, because DDC haven't made a decision.
Suffice to say, in the next 11 months, DDC will have an application from Eastleigh Village Hall. That's all I can say about it.
Can we take a vote?
Yeah, So, the question that people will be filling in as they've left the room is, do you think the new community hub, as shown on the diagrams, should be built on the gun park? Yes. No. Right up these, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 32, 33. I think that's 33.
Can I just ask, those plans are not set in stone, are they?
No.
So it could be a lower level building?
Absolutely. As I say, the Badminton Court is a luxury, but I have been asked about it in the past, and it was only right and proper to add it to the building at that stage. This is where people have sort of lost.
So just having done a show of hands on that building?
No, we haven't done a show of hands on that building. We've done
Well,
a show of hands
about building on the village, on the parish, on the gun park.
As shown and
Yeah.
it isn't.
Yeah, no. Well, the pavilion's already been provisionally agreed.
Well, yes, I'm not talking about the pavilion.
Yes.
Talking about a two-storey building.
Okay, right, I'll ask again then. Who would be in favour if it was a one-storey building?
We wouldn't stay at a one story.
Right, 3 people in favour of a one-storey. But that size, taking up that much of the gun park.
Can I just say, Joe, that that's not actually what we agreed at the meeting?
No, okay, I won't ask.
Actually agreed.
Yeah.
The question is, regardless of whether it's a 2-foot hut or a 25-foot swimming pool, are you happy or not to have something built on the gun park? That's basically the question.
Yeah.
Are you happy to use the gun park to build a new community hub, regardless of what it looks like, how big it is, whether it's 1 story or 2 story? That's the question. That's it. Do you want to use the gun park to build on?
Sorry, there's a gentleman I missed out.
Sorry, yeah.
Go on, Terry.
Have any other sites been suggested for this village hall?
There was one which was part of the development running down towards the pond. But I say the only areas within the parish that are suitable, A, have to be donated, because if we have to pay for the land, this doesn't work. Yeah?
Yeah.
Or B, right outside what we know as the village.
What about the old hospital site? If negotiations started with the builder up there,
I do like your thinking, sir.
there could be a hall, there could kickstart that being built for a change.
Yeah.
I'm voting for that.
Are you making a vote?
The old hospital site.
Yeah, taking out of that, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I really don't have a problem with that.
What's that? Everybody asked them, Tom.
You should be on the committee, Terry.
Anyone got anything else? Because, say, we will need to feed back a summary of this to the parish council.
Can I just confirm, Joe, that you said you were going to put were you going to put something in the magazine?
Because the magazine now, the one that has just come out, has got an article that the editor of EVN wrote. He did fact check it, and there were a couple of things that I said, that's quite right, and I think he fact checked it with you as well, didn't he? He unfortunately didn't put the time of tonight's meeting in there, or today, and I didn't. Of today's meeting, and I didn't pick up on that, but it had been, I think, on the leaflet that went through the door.
It was.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't think the next parish council meeting is until July, so it'll be up to them. If they action me to put something in, I will. Yeah.
Alan, can you tell people when the AGM for the village hall is? Because we are going to need more volunteers.
Well, absolutely. I had a closing statement before the show of hands, but no worries.
Would you
You can still have it. Yeah.
treat us up to question?
Sure.
Sorry, just before we voted, you said that a planning permission is going to be applied for anyway. Did I hear that correctly or not? You said
No, not for the new hub building. As I understand it, the football pavilion is at pre-application stage. But we have, back in, I think it was the January hall committee meeting, things were dragging on and we were spending money and basically the committee decided no more money to be spent on this project. Because, I mean, it was just getting silly as to what was being asked and the cost of getting those drawings together, etc., etc. Most of those drawings were done by the architect free of charge because he happens to be the vice chairman of the football club. How much those would have cost, God alone knows. A lot.
After all of the consultations, and if the overwhelming view of the village is no, we don't agree with it, will the village hall accept that?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. If the vote is done properly and the village say no, then I'm only the chairman of the committee. The village hall is called the village hall for a reason. Yeah. It's not the chairman's hall. Yeah. It's not the committee's hall. It's the East Street Village Hall for the residents of East Street. Yeah. We do our best to follow that mission statement that I read out right at the start. Yeah. We just believe, we being the committee, just believe that it would be beneficial, certainly more economic, to basically start again in a purpose-built building rather than an old forge, which is a devil to heat and to run. And it's got all manner of bits and pieces threatening it to fall. The Dutch gable with the clock in it, yep. We had 8 hanging bricks there last summer, literally just piled on top of one another. One strong wind, they would have been on the deck. It's only because we had a leak in the roof, which we were trying to solve, that we discovered those 8 hanging bricks and got them sorted. That's how bad some of this building was.
I will just say though, any building needs maintenance. That Woodford Village Hall
Exactly.
isn't very
And
old.
it hasn't
They
had
have
any-
had to do quite a lot of work
Well,
to
yeah,
that
yeah.
too. And they've got drains collapsed, had to have the drains already done, doors have been replaced, so that's a new building. So I will just balance that by saying, new
Yeah.
buildings can have their problems
Oh,
too,
absolutely.
and they have cost the village hall committee there a lot of money, and they were things that they hadn't perceived were going to go wrong, but they did, because when the building was built, possibly, probably, maybe, things weren't quite done properly, because Dover District Council were in charge of the build, Dover District Council managed it all, and then it was all signed off as being tickety-boo, and then I think the drains collapsed. So there can be problems with drains, with new buildings, and with old buildings. Everybody lives in a house. Whose house doesn't ever have a problem? Lucky you.
Hello.
Am I right in saying it's the AGM of the village hall tomorrow?
No, it's the AGM at the village hall. Bear with me. I can't remember these things.
Oh, I've got it written down somewhere.
You got it? It's Tuesday the 23rd of June, starting at 8 o'clock here.
So that's next Tuesday, isn't it? The 23rd.
Tuesday.
What date are we today? Right. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so two weeks tomorrow.
When our very good treasurer will stand up and go through the numbers. Before we call this meeting, are there any more questions on the floor? Because I've got a couple of things. Yes.
The old bit about the charity commission,
Yeah.
will that follow forward with the new build?
Yes.
And what are the benefits of?
As far as the charity commission is concerned, they will still be the senior management, the point to which we have to report. Yeah. And all. I mean, if you go onto the Charity Commission website, you can see the numbers that we posted there. Sometimes a bit late, but they're there. Yeah. Okay. As I was saying, we have a very good hall treasurer, a chap by the name of Andy Tomlinson, who wanted to be here at today's meeting, but unfortunately, he still works for a living. Those are his words. And he's director of a fresh food company, and he's been called away to Felixstowe, so he has to apologise for not being here. But he has passed me this statement, which I would like to read out to you, please. Bear in mind that he is a company director, and he is a very good treasurer. These are his words. As treasurer, I am all about the money, but I cannot stay silent about how the hub debate has been mishandled. My duty is to protect the charity's finances and ensure the long-term viability of community assets. From a numbers and risk perspective, the current path of preserving the old hall at all costs is reckless and short-sighted. First, the financial reality is stark. Our current reserves of £33,000 are finite and already modest for an organisation responsible for maintaining a public building. The hall currently generates roughly £10,000 a year in gross profit. Not insignificant, but fragile and inadequate when set against likely major repair bills. Insurance only covers certain perils and routinely excludes wear and tear or pre-existing gradual deterioration. I'll insert a reference to the roof here. We have 2 leaks and we don't know how much that's going to cost. One substantial failure example, a roof collapse, structural fault or major boiler replacement could easily wipe out a year's income and burn through reserves, leaving us unable to meet basic obligations or fund necessary improvements. It is irresponsible to rely on hope that the old building will last a few more years. Buildings don't last on sentiment. They deteriorate on a schedule defined by materials, usage and maintenance. Even if it survives 1, 20 or 50 years, deferred maintenance compounds costs exponentially. Investing in a purpose-built fit-for-purpose hub would have been the prudent financial strategy. Low ongoing maintenance, predictable life cycle costs, better energy efficiency, and a facility designed to maximise higher income and reduce operational risk. The opposition has offered little more than categorical refusal and vague concerns about green space and parking issues that could be designed around, but no creditable financial counter-proposal. There is no presentation of alternative funding sources, realistic cost options, or an operational plan that shows how the old hall can be maintained sustainably without draining reserves. We must also consider opportunity costs. A modern hub would likely increase bookings, attract new user groups, enable better hire rates, reduce energy bills and be more accessible, all of which improve long-term revenue stability. Preserving an unsuitable building sacrifices those gains for the sake of nostalgia. A short-term appearance of low expenditure becomes a short-term appearance of low expenditure becomes far more expensive over a planning horizon of 10 to 30 years. I am frustrated. The community are failing to have a rational discussion. Emotional attachment is understandable, but decisions about communal assets should be informed by transparent financial modelling and clear-eyed risk management. Continuing to pour scarce resources into an ageing asset without a credible, sustainable funding plan is negligent. If we genuinely care for the village's future, we should prioritise financial resilience. That would mean moving towards a purpose-built hub that protects reserves, improves income prospects, and reduces the likelihood of catastrophic unplanned spending. One more sentence. This is him speaking. I no longer wish to act as a treasurer if people of the parish council are out there and think that they can ensure the current community's asset to serve generations with the finite amount of funds that we have now and can generate. Please volunteer. I will not be held accountable or be the one that sees funds just fritter away on repair maintenance when all this could be avoided. That is from the hall treasurer.
That sounds like someone that wants to get rid of this hall at all costs. No,
it sounds to me like a resignation statement.
It does, but I will say the Woodensborough Hall it's brand new, Alan, and they have been a lot of problems in it. It does cost a lot in maintenance.
I'm sure it does.
I mean, it's unrealistic for him to suggest it doesn't cost anything.
The new hall's going to cost us.
As treasurer, he asked that to be read out.
Yeah.
I have read it out.
It did.
Yeah, it is noted. Yeah. I've already said that I am resigning in 11 months' time. You really don't want this guy to resign. I will do my best to keep him on board. Yeah.
Sounds to me like he's going to resign unless we agree to.
No, that's what I'm trying to get away from. Right? It does sound like that to me as well. Right? I've only just received this over the weekend. I haven't had a chance to just sit down with him and discuss it because he's in Felixstowe trying to sort out a business problem. Right? This has obviously been bounced off and is, the way he feels at the moment. Give me time, I will try and bring him down. Yeah? Because he is an asset. He is an asset to the village. He's been in the position 2 years, and because of his abilities, we've been able to push forward. Yeah. He enabled us to put the air conditioning in the snooker club, and that has really pushed on the income in that room. Yeah. So just let that one settle for a moment. Yeah. But he asked me to read it out. Because of that video, I felt obliged I had to read it out. Yeah? So, we really don't I don't want him to go. Yeah? But I'm going in 11 months' time. The hall does not want him to go for a lot longer. I'll do my best.
Can I
go on.
say that, I mean, he's proposing that decisions should be based on, well, informed on financial transparency, but we haven't had financial transparency, not most of us.
That's why we've advertised the fact that the AGM is when it is.
So,
Look
I
at
mean,
the numbers, right? I've quoted some of the numbers, but they're yet to be announced.
And I think it will, you know, that will help to inform people, and rather than rushing a decision perhaps. But anyway, it's not going to be rushed because the parish council meeting isn't until July. So
it's not existential at the moment, but it could well be. I mean, you know, we need volunteers for the hall. This place is run on a shoestring, right? I'm going to skip most of my closing statement because you've heard enough of my voice. But right at this moment, the hall needs a secretary. I'm covering that position. It needs a minute taker. It needs, where are we? Bear with me. Sorry. Oh goodness. There we go. Right. A secretary, a minute taker, a vice treasurer, a fundraising coordinator, and at least one person to run and update the hall website and social media. Yeah. We all recognise the fact that Eastry is full of the more elderly of the population. Yeah, I count myself amongst it, and I detest computers, and I have no wish to learn how to do anything regarding the website or social media. I'm not on social media. I will never be on social media. I do, however, I have had reports come back to me which are fairly swingeing and critical, and they get personal, and there's no need for it, chaps and ladies. Yeah, I'm trying to do a job for the village here. I'm not paid, it's a voluntary role. Let's get this out and dealt with. Yes, Woods Builders came up with the offer. I have no financial connection with Wood Builders at all. I never have done, I never will be. I've not received any payment from Woods by way of money or any other benefit from this exercise. I am doing this entirely because I think it's the right thing for the village. But if the village thinks otherwise, that's fine. I will put my efforts for the next 11 months into making this place as good as possible. But in May 2027, I will be nearly 73, the ageing process has started, and I will toddle off into the sunset, which is something my wife is waiting to happen. Thank you and good night. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I arrived a little late, but it's to do with the development in Gun Park and the football team. I live in Wilmot Place. If we're going to have development down there with spaces for 25 cars, 30, right, more, where are they going to park? You're saying there's going to be 25 places. What about all their other people? The football team, when they arrive, don't park, they stop. We had a bereavement in Wilmot Place about a month ago. The ambulance couldn't get through for nearly an hour. That person could have still been alive.
Well,
because it was a heart problem.
Don't know anything about that, sir, but one of the privy pictures on the wall covers that issue, where the car park is. The car park is all of what is
it's
now.
going to be in Gun Park, but it's the same as the one out here, where the proposal is that the people who are going to live in the new developed houses will all park in their own place. Of course they won't, they'll use up out there completely. You know, I understand you're in the middle, you know, basically, that if you believe in development, you're believing in theories.
Well, again, that is a personal opinion. the show of hands has already indicated that, you know,
Yes,
there's very few
I was
supporters,
right. It's simple as that.
and I
Keep it
accept
covered.
that.
You can, at the end, you could, because we have taken a, you can come and
My
speak
wife wants to do
and put
the-
your tally down.
Yeah. But, you know, the parish council asked for the 3 consultations. You've had your 3 consultations.
Yeah, this is.
Can I ask what type of building it's going to be? I know there's pictures. Is it brick or is it through
It hasn't been
fabrication
decided. It hasn't been decided. All that is ink on a sheet of paper.
Pardon?
They're not anywhere near that point. This is just a consultation with the village about are you happy to use the dump like that. All the minutiae about what it's going to look like and everything else.
Yeah. Build it out of straw.
What I'm trying to get at is if it's going to be prefabricated, because that's not going to last as long as this one.
Yeah, but we don't know. That's not anything to do with parish council.
Well, why doesn't the builder come?
Well, that's down to the builder, that's not down to parish council. All the parish council and the
There's
Yeah,
absolute,
I know.
there's absolutely no point in spending vast amounts of money on the next steps, plural.
Because if we turn
Yep.
around and decide, if Billy says no and we go, no, they can't use it,
No,
they've then got to go to plan B and C.
Yeah, and we've just thrown 20 grand out the window.
Yeah, so,
Okay, fine. Keep still.
Hmm?
Fine, keep still.
Any other questions? Well, I'd like to thank you for turning up, but I'm not going to. Anyway, that's it. The consultation's over.